You're fired!
This deal is off.
He fired his own mother in front of everyone. The room went silent. Across the table, a black CEO watched, calm, calculating. He didn't say a word. But when he finally did, a $200 million deal vanished in seconds. And a billionaire learned what real power sounds like. Morning sunlight spilled through the glass walls of Regal Corp Tower, slicing gold across the boardroom's marble table. Manhattan stretched below, endless and loud. Inside, only tension breathed. At the head sat Richard Stanton, billionaire and founder of Stanton Enterprises, the kind of man whose name moved markets. Across from him sat Jordan Miles, a self-made black CEO who built his tech company, Oris from a single laptop in Detroit's East Side. His calm was unnerving. It made powerful men fidget. Lawyers whispered. Cameras waited. A $200 million merger was minutes away. Richard leaned forward, charm polished like glass. Jordan, you've done something rare. Most men dream, you execute. I respect that. Jordan smiled slightly. Dreams are for the night, Richard. I work when others sleep. Laughter rippled around the table, the kind of polite sound rich people make when they don't know what else to do. Then the door opened. A woman entered carrying a silver tray of coffee. Her steps were careful, her smile warm. Martha Stanton, Richard's mother. "Fresh coffee, dear," she said softly. "I thought your guests might like—" Richard's smile cracked. His wife Emily stiffened, eyes flashing irritation. He turned, voice sharp. "Mom, not now. Please wait outside." "Oh, outside, Mom, please." The sound of porcelain trembling filled the silence. She nodded, embarrassed. "Of course, dear." She turned to leave, but in that brief moment, her eyes met Jordan's, a quiet exchange of dignity and pain. He watched her disappear through the door, the tray trembling in her hands. Richard forced a laugh. "She's sweet, but she doesn't understand boundaries. Always wants to help." Emily smirked. "She's adorable. But honestly, sometimes she forgets she's not staff." Jordan's pen stopped mid-note. His eyes lifted slowly. "That your mother?" Richard chuckled. "Yeah, she's happiest when she's useful." That word landed like a slap. Useful. Jordan said nothing. He just leaned back, tapping his fingers once. Slow, deliberate. The energy in the room shifted, though no one could name why. The meeting continued. Numbers, contracts, projections. But the soul of the deal had already died. Jordan's thoughts echoed quietly. Any man who forgets where he came from will one day lose where he's going. And as the city roared outside, inside that glittering tower, a storm had already begun. The boardroom was empty now. Only the echo of what had just happened remained. Richard Stanton sat alone, staring at the untouched coffee cups. The same coffee his mother had brought, now cold, like the air around him. His reflection glimmered on the glass table, distorted, broken. The mighty billionaire who could silence a room with one word couldn't silence the echo of a sentence that kept repeating in his head. "The moment you forgot who poured your first cup of coffee." He rubbed his temples, trying to focus. But the noise outside grew louder. Reporters, phones, chaos. The news had already spread. Oris Tech CEO walks out on $200 million merger. Emily stormed in, heels clicking like accusations. "You humiliated us, Richard. Do you know what this looks like?" He didn't respond. His eyes drifted toward the doorway, the same place his mother had stood, quietly smiling, tray trembling. "You think I care about a deal right now?" he murmured. He looked at me like I was less than a man, and he was right. Emily froze. It was the first time she'd heard that tone. Regret, but pride wouldn't let her soften. Regret doesn't fix reputations, Richard. It destroys them. She turned sharply and walked away, her perfume fading into silence. For the first time, Richard realized the silence wasn't power anymore. It was punishment. He stood and walked to the window. The city glittered beneath him, same as always, but somehow it looked farther away. He whispered softly, "Mom deserved better." In another part of the city, Jordan Miles sat in his office. The skyline of Detroit stretched behind him, not as tall as Manhattan, but real, alive. His assistant entered quietly. "Mr. Miles, Stanton Enterprises stock is dropping. You really shook them." Jordan didn't smile. "Sometimes you have to break walls for light to get in." He looked out the window, remembering Martha's trembling hands and the way dignity can survive even in humiliation. A storm was coming for Richard Stanton. But for Jordan Miles, it was just another morning of standing tall. Night fell heavy over Manhattan. The city's glass towers glittered like nothing had changed.
The
But
moment
inside
you forgot
Stanton
who poured your
Enterprises,
first cup of
everything
coffee.
had. Richard's office was dark except for the soft glow of a desk lamp. Papers lay scattered. Contracts unsigned. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about money. He was thinking about his mother's trembling hands. He replayed that moment again and again. Her quiet smile, the coffee tray, the way she'd looked at him before walking out. Humiliated. He'd built empires, but couldn't build the courage to say, "I'm sorry." The phone rang. He ignored it. Instead, he stood and grabbed his coat. There was one place he needed to be: home. Cut to a small, modest apartment on the city's east side. A soft lamp glowed behind lace curtains. Martha Stanton sat in her armchair, knitting quietly. Old jazz playing on a radio. Her son hadn't visited in months. When she opened the door and saw him standing there, gray suit, tired eyes, she didn't speak. Neither did he. Richard took a deep breath. "Mom, I said things today, did things that I can't take back." Martha looked at him gently. "You didn't just hurt me, Richard. You hurt yourself." He nodded, eyes glistening. "I thought power meant never being wrong, but I was wrong every step of the way." She smiled faintly.
"I said things today, did things that I can't take back."
You didn't just hurt me,
Then start by
Richard.
being right
You hurt
now.
yourself.
He knelt beside her chair, taking her hand, the same hand that had served him coffee 1,000 mornings ago. "I don't deserve forgiveness," he whispered. "Maybe not," she said softly, "but you can still earn it." The radio hummed quietly, Louis Armstrong singing "What a Wonderful World." Outside, the city lights flickered like stars beginning to listen again. For the first time in decades, Richard Stanton didn't feel like a billionaire. He just felt like a son. Silence still haunted the halls. The $200 million deal had collapsed. Investors panicked. Headlines screamed, "Oris CEO walks out, Stanton empire shaken." Richard Stanton watched his empire unravel on the morning news. Every channel played that moment. Jordan Miles standing up, saying the words that silenced a billionaire. "I don't build empires with men who tear their mothers down." It had become a symbol, a line repeated by young entrepreneurs, by talk shows, even by janitors sweeping lobbies before dawn. But today, Richard wasn't hiding. He was walking back into that same boardroom, not as a king, but as a man who'd finally learned humility. The cameras flashed as he entered. The same seat, the same marble table, but this time, no arrogance, just truth. He looked straight at the press and spoke slowly, voice steady but heavy. "Last week, I failed as a leader. I failed as a man. I let success make me forget the people who built me, starting with my mother." A ripple moved through the crowd. This company isn't just mine. It belongs to every hand that carried a tray, cleaned a floor, and believed we were worth something better. A reporter asked, "Mr. Stanton, is this because of Jordan Miles?" Richard smiled faintly. "No, this is because he reminded me what real power sounds like." At that very moment, the glass doors opened. Jordan Miles stepped in, calm, sharp, commanding. The entire room turned. Their eyes met. For a long moment, no words. Just understanding. Richard walked toward him and extended a hand. "Thank you," he said. Jordan nodded once. Not for publicity, not for cameras, but for respect. And as they shook hands, the press shutters clicked like thunder. Not for the scandal, but for redemption. They echo. In a quiet corner cafe in Brooklyn, Jordan Miles sat by the window. No suit today. Just a man with a coffee and peace in his eyes. He watched people hurry past, mothers holding children, workers starting their day. The pulse of a city built by hands that rarely get thanked. A small TV in the corner played a business interview. Richard Stanton, older, humbler, speaking at a charity event named after one woman. The Martha Stanton Foundation, honoring the hands that serve. Jordan smiled faintly. That name, it meant more than any deal ever could. Across the cafe, a young man nervously approached. "Sir, excuse me, are you Mr. Jordan Miles?" Jordan looked up, amused. "Depends who's asking." The young man grinned shyly. "I saw that clip, the one where you walked out. My mom always says respect is everything. You proved it."
Today, we honor the extraordinary life and enduring vision of Martha Stanton.
It hesitated. "Can I ask, do you ever regret ending that deal?" Jordan took a sip of coffee, sunlight reflecting off the cup. "Son, money can rebuild, but the moment you lose your soul, that's gone forever." Outside, the city shimmered with a soft afternoon glow. Cars, laughter, life. And in that quiet cafe, one man's choice, to honor respect over power, had already begun shaping the next generation. The screen fades slowly to black as Jordan's reflection remains faintly visible in the glass, his calm voice echoing in the final line. "Power doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you stand for."